So we're Tom and Jen Atwater, and we're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we are serving as founders and directors of 9/11 Life Ministries in Medellin, Colombia, along with our 4 teenage children.
When we initially went to Colombia, we were working for a children's center as the executive directors of that children's center and spent 7 years working with poor community, people at risk. And then after 7 years, the Lord just really made it clear that the vision He wanted us to expand was a little bit different, so we had to come out from underneath that other organization. And He challenged us to step out boldly and create a new nonprofit dedicated to single moms and children and families, and also building into missionaries and missions training. The Lord gave us the idea of 9/11 life, and 9/11 is Psalm 91, verse 1. The central part of our ministry, which is he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty, and that's all the presence of God. And so as we rest in Him and give shelter to others, that brings in the presence of God. And so that 9/11 is also kind of an emergency number 2, because we serve people in emergency situations.
Rescuing lives.
Yeah. The latest of what's going on in our ministry, 9/11 Life, is that we started as a worship room. We felt that we were going to start in the presence of God and just seek Him, and then out of that worship room will feed the other programs that we'll develop from that worship room. So just depending on Him fully and waiting on Him is how we actually started. And then children started to come from the street to our worship room. They just came off the street, nobody invited them, and they just wanted to be there. They just felt loved in the presence of God, and were just drawn in like a supernatural way, drawn to our worship room. And out of that, we had somebody who said, hey, let's help the kids. Let's do some training of the kids to hear God's voice, to worship God, and to get to know Jesus. And then the kids brought other kids, and they wanted to pray for these kids. They went to their schools and they brought kids, and then they demanded more time. They said, we want more of what you guys have. And so we opened up another time for the kids to learn about Jesus and learn about God and their relationship with Him. And then their mothers said, well, we want some of that too. So then they came, and then we had to open up a Bible study for moms. And after about 4 months after we started, we opened up a mom's program just for moms. So the Women of His Dreams. And that program is an outer beauty training, like beauty school, but also inner beauty. And out of that, the moms have gotten hope. They say they've never had hope before. They're starting their micro businesses, they're able to feed their families, and have hope that they've never had. And they're demanding Bibles. They want to know how to pray. They say, we want to pray like you guys pray. We want to hear God like you guys. We want this relationship in our lives.
So once those programs were running smoothly, I felt the Lord impressing on us to start an English program, because everybody wants to learn English, and that's just a natural hook to get people in, to be able to reach into their lives. So in June, we just offered like 1 hour a week of English for 1 month to see what happened. And by the end of the month, we had 100 people coming, ages 4 to 74. It was nuts, all different ability levels. And then all these volunteers and English teachers came, locals, that were really interested, and good, solid Christians. So we were able to break into 6 different classes.
And the purpose of every program is all Christ-centered. So everything we do is guiding the kids towards Jesus. So we're teaching them in English classes songs, Christian songs, that are drawing them in to this relationship with Jesus. And the mentoring goes to their homes. So we go visit them at their homes in the sports program. The mentoring is like fathering these kids that don't have fathers, and taking them out to ice cream and discipling and getting into their homes to see what the dynamics are. And there's been great reception of that coming into their homes, sending you have to send like professionals. So we'll send a Christian psychologist, a Christian social worker, and so we'll help them with some basic family dynamics. But the main thing is Jesus, because that's what they really need, and that is only Jesus is going to make the difference that they need. And all of the changes that they needed.
Also, through this process, we've learned to cover everybody and everything with love, from the homeless guy on the street to the international leader that you think has it all put together. Everybody has struggles, and covering everything with love is the greatest weapon that we have.
One of the most important things we can do is to stay connected with Jesus. And that is the one and probably most important thing that has allowed us to have any, if you want to call success, any duration on the mission field. It's been the greatest protection that we have had. And how do you stay connected to Jesus? There's some simple things. Of course, we're in His Word, because that's His voice, that's His tone of voice, that's where He is, and that's how we get fed. But we have very specific times of prayer. Like every day I'm with Him, usually an hour, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. And that's after my Bible study, and that is just me and Jesus time, and we're just sitting together. And it's in those times that I just look to Him as like a child, and there's something that happens that there's this love that He just allows to come over me and just to fill me. And it's in those times where I feel the closest to Him. And out of that comes wisdom. I know I get wisdom from that. Out of that comes good decisions and patience and love and a desire and even energy. I'm like more energized. And that connectedness is so important.
Learning to hear His voice really helped me. So every day I'll be vulnerable with God, because He already knows everything that's on my mind and in my heart. But I'll tell it to Him. I'm a writer, so I'll write it out on my computer. I'll say, God, this is what I'm feeling. He already knows, but it helps me to process that. And then I'll say, what do you want to say to me? And every day He answers me in dramatic ways. And I'll just write it out, and then I'll evaluate it afterwards. And you know, as I look back over the months and the years, He's been so spot on in just making sure that I know I'm loved, and to take movements of boldness and steps of faith. It's like He prepares us ahead of time for what's coming. And just in general, in leadership and teamwork, it's so important to fight for connectedness with people and with God. If we don't open up that time for Him, it's harder for Him to talk to us. But if we just can at least make that space, He's always ready to tell us something.